Hi there, everybody, and welcome back to another daily news video right here on the Toon Review YouTube channel. Thank you very much for watching this today. Some very interesting news regarding a player that Newcastle United have been heavily linked with in the past, James Maddison. Some interesting developments with former Newcastle United employees, and some wonderful news on Cristian Atsu, but we'll talk about that at the end of the video. But we must start with James Maddison because the Daily Mail and some other media sources are reporting this morning that Newcastle United will make him the number one priority in the summer transfer window, regardless of whether we finish in the Champions League or not. Of course, we know that James Maddison was a target in the winter transfer window, but the price Leicester City were asking, it was somewhere around 60 million quid, was just too much for Newcastle, and they weren't prepared to offer that to a guy at a club who only had 18 months left on his contract. It would be absolute lunacy. But what they're suggesting is Newcastle United will go back again in the summer because they feel that the valuation would be a lot less because, of course, James Maddison will then only have a year left on his contract. So to ask £60 million at that point would be completely crazy because they don't want to lose him for nothing a year later. They've said that James Maddison probably doesn't want to be at Leicester City for another season. He finds that his time is ready. He's ready to move on in a new challenge. And he does think a lot of Newcastle United. Now, there has been rumours that Manchester City are looking at him as well. It wouldn't be surprising if Chelsea were looking at him. They seem to be looking at every player in the bloody world at the minute. But Manchester City is an option for James Maddison without a doubt. But would he get the kind of football that he'd get at Newcastle United? I'm not so sure. You know, Calvin Phillips made the jump from Leeds United to Man City, got himself injured, and now he's struggling to play. It's not always greener at Manchester City, just because they've got loads of money, like, you know, technically we have, I guess. But James Maddison would be a big part of the Newcastle United squad for next season, should we go in for him. I like him as a player. I think he's a very talented footballer, and I think he'd fit into our squad and fit into Eddie Howe's style of play like a duck to water. I really do. But let me know in the comments below, is James Maddison somebody that you'd be interested in seeing at Newcastle? Because the way it went in the transfer window, it was on, it was off, it was on, it was off. We never really went in with a bid. We made 2 bids in the summer of £40 million. I think that's, you know, common knowledge across everybody that we went for James Maddison in the summer. That didn't come to fruition. So everybody, of course, straight away thinks, right, including myself. I must admit, I said on our shows, I think we'll go back in for Maddison. It didn't quite work out like that, unfortunately, and it turns out that we didn't make any sort of bid for him during the window, no matter what people will tell you. We didn't go in for him, and it looks now that he's going to be a big priority come the summer window. And I hope he is. I really do, because I think he's a very talented player. Great midfielder, and can really move his career on, I think, if he comes to Newcastle United. For me, for James Maddison, Man City would be a big risk. I'm under no illusion about that. Some of the players that have gone there, it hasn't worked. And like I said, the grass isn't always greener at Manchester City just because they've got plenty of money. Eddie Howe would certainly utilise James Maddison and utilise him very well. So let me know in the comments below if James Maddison is somebody that you would look at in the summer for Newcastle United. Now, Jamal Lascelles has come out in an interview, and he has said that he was very sad to see John Joe Shelvey leave the club. Now, the club captain has come out and said this because he was it's such an amazing journey at the club with John Joe. Now, these two went down into the Championship. They fought for Newcastle United to come back. They were part of some successful sides coming back out of the Championship, remaining in the Premier League. You know, John Joe struggled a little bit during his time here under Rafa. He wasn't quite at it. I don't think Rafa particularly liked John Joe as a player, but listen, he hung around, he dug in, and he got back to somewhat his best before injuries crippled him again. Jamal Lascelles has said that he was a wonderful guy to have around the dressing room, and it was a very emotional time of it when he came into the dressing room after the victory against Southampton in the Carabao Cup semi-final. Of course, John Joe just had made the move to Nottingham Forest, but it was great to see the players get him in the dressing room and take part in the photograph and everything, and just make sure that he felt that he was still part of the journey for Newcastle United, which he always will be. And I think that's the beautiful thing about our club at the minute. You know, the camaraderie in that dressing room is just well, it's second to none, really. It really is. Now, Leeds United, of course, we know that they sacked Jesse Marsh yesterday, and they'll look out for a new manager. Of course, Rafa Benitez has been in the mix of those names. Of course, Rafa will get linked left, right and centre to different teams, certainly in the Premier League. But Leeds United have stated that they are moving on from Rafa Benitez. They won't be looking at Rafa. They have a couple of other options which they are going to look at. So it doesn't look like former Newcastle manager Rafa Benitez is going to make a return to the Premier League just yet. And another ex-player of ours, Federico Fernandez. Now, if you remember in the summer, Federico Fernandez moved to Elche in La Liga to go and play in Spain. He had a rotten time of it there, a really rotten first few months. Didn't take to it well. I think there was problems behind the scenes as well. And Fernandez was let go. Now, it's come out today that he has signed for a new club. He's actually moved to Qatari side Al Duhail, or Duhail, however you want to pronounce it. So, very big move for him. He's gone to play in the Middle East. It didn't quite work for him in La Liga. But listen, we all hold Fede Fernandez in high regard at Newcastle United. I know he didn't play a lot towards the end of his career at the Toon, but listen, he did really well for us, and we wish Fede all the best in his new surroundings and his new club, and hopefully he can get his career back on track, because he's 33 now, and time is running out playing wise. So I just hope he has a good last few years of his career. So good luck to Fede Fernandez. Now, if we look back to the winter transfer window again, it's been discovered why we didn't manage to sign Sander Berge from Sheffield United. We initially wanted a loan deal, and I think that was quite well known, that Newcastle wanted a loan deal with a view to maybe purchasing them in the summer. However, Sheffield United didn't want to entertain this, and instead they wanted a £20 million fee. Now, £20 million for a championship player is quite a lot of money. I think he's 25 as well. So Sander Berge, he's a very talented player. I've seen him a few times this season. He's a very, very good footballer. Don't get me wrong here. I'm not saying that he couldn't have come into Newcastle and done a job, but Newcastle weren't prepared to pay £20 million. And it just goes to show you that these owners of ours that just will not take no crap. If they have a valuation of a player, they will stick to that valuation. They won't go over it. They will negotiate, but they will not have the trousers pulled down by anybody. They are determined to make sure that everything is done above board at the club, and it will continue to be done that way. So they weren't interested at all in a loan deal. Now, finally, Cristian Atsu. Very worrying news came through yesterday that Cristian was unfortunately missing in some of the rubble from that dreadful earthquake that has hit Turkey and Syria. Celebrating the day before when getting the winning goal. He was unfortunately lost in the rubble. Great news today is that he has been found. Now, he does have injuries. Nobody has really released what the injuries are. We believe it's a foot injury, and he was struggling with his breathing. Obviously, being crushed under the rubble, you can understand that. Horrendous circumstances for Cristian. This guy's a father of 3 young kids. Really, really worrying story. But fortunately, he has been found. Now, his club, I think it's his vice chairman or one of the directors was with him. He still hasn't been found. So that's a bit of a worry. But our thoughts and prayers are with Cristian and his family at this time, and everybody else who's been involved in that dreadful earthquake. It's absolutely horrific, isn't it? You just never know what's going to happen in life. And seeing some of those buildings collapsing and things like that on the TV, just horrendous. It's just horrible. And sometimes you realise how lucky you are living in a place where, the threat of that happening, is very, very small. But it's awful. But like I said, the positive news for Cristian is that he's been found. He's in hospital now, so he's in the very, very best place, getting the very best care as well. So we all wish him the very, very best of speedy recoveries. But there you go, guys. That is the daily news for today so far. If there's anything else to bring you, then if you're watching this on Tuesday, we will bring you it on the fan forum tonight. Come and have a chat with me and Billy live on the show. We get everyone on at once, so it's a good bunch on there. We start at 8 o'clock tonight. The link will be in the comments around 15 minutes before we start. So you just click on the link. It takes you into the backstage, and then we'll bring you on when the show starts. So come and have your say on everything Newcastle United and football on the fan forum tonight. But if you have enjoyed this video, guys, please don't forget to hit that like button. It does really, really help the channel in moving up the search results and becoming... getting more exposure, basically. So please do hit the like button. And if you're new and you like what you see, hit that subscribe button, guys. It is free to do so. Come and be part of this amazing community. And, of course, the notification bell, which will let you know when we go live, we upload, or we schedule in a show, so you can pop it in your diary and never miss us going live. But don't forget, let me know in the comments below what you think of James Maddison and all the other news that we've talked about in the video. I love reading your comments and getting your opinions on everything, so don't forget to do that. But in the meantime, guys, enjoy your Tuesday. See you soon. Take care.